back onto the theme of David Hume. So Paul Tillich was somebody who believed that there was meaningfulness in spiritual religious language. The early Wittgenstein, we're going to be flipping between meaningful and non-meaningful in the rest of this PowerPoint. The early Wittgenstein, one of the most important thinkers in the 20th century, actually probably the most important thinker in the 20th century. Very difficult to approach and very, very complex, but so, so important. Anyway, writing in a book called The Tractatus, the early Wittgenstein made 2 points which we're going to look at here. So this is a excerpt of the book and the full argument that he's making here. However, it's very complex, and so we're just going to look at point 1 and 7. So the world is all that is the case. What does he mean here? He's talking about everything which is within the empirical world. So there's no talk of what is beyond the world. There is no talk of ghosts and dust and all of that kind of carry on. No, the world is all that is the case. So this glass is the case. I am the case. This lecture you're watching is the case because it's in the world. And what is not in the world, i.e., whereof one cannot speak, thereof one must remain silent. So what the early Wittgenstein is saying is that, okay, he wasn't necessarily saying here that you can't speak at all if you're religious, but he was saying that you can't speak meaningfully at all if you're religious. So if you're wanting to talk about the meaningfulness of this cup, then you are just projecting onto it things which don't actually exist, things that your mind has come up with, certainly in response to your emotional inspirations and just how you feel at a given moment. Certainly that's where it comes from, but that has no practical or meaningful use in the real world, and therefore this applies also to spiritual language. So the idea of talking of there being more to life, there being more to the world, well, how can that possibly make sense? Because all that exists is the world. This is the idea of the early Wittgenstein. So you can see how it would lead to the response to the question title, what does the speaker mean by spiritual? Well, they don't mean very much at all, do they? Very much a proponent of the speaker meaning nothing argument is A.J. Ayer. A.J. Ayer came up with the verification principle, i.e., a statement only has meaning if it is tautologist, i.e., true in and of itself, such as all bachelors are male, or I don't know, all triangles have 3 sides. These are just intrinsically true statements and therefore they're meaningful. Or things which are empirically verifiable, such as the statement, all swans are white. Not necessarily true, but you can prove or disprove the statement by empirical means. So if you go out and find a black swan, then you've disproved my statement, but you can see how it would operate. So A.J. Ayer's idea is that for language to be meaningful, it has to be able to be subjected to empirical investigation. And so you can see how that'd be problematic for the statement, the River Thames has a spiritual energy. How would you ever set about proving that other than, yeah, well, there's no way of empirically proving it, even if somebody might believe it.